On the news, women take to the streets of Abuja to continue end bad governance protest. Kaduna governor bans unverified protest in the state. And President Tinubu says ECOWAS persuading Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso to return to regional bloc. Many thanks for joining us on the news on TV 360 Nigeria. I'm Tamilore Akinkwole. We begin in Abuja, where a group of women defied police orders to continue their protest against what they describe as bad governance. Now, despite a ban on demonstrations, the women took to the street to voice their concerns over the country's current economic conditions. During the march, the protesters expressed their frustration with the high cost of living, asserting that many Nigerians are struggling due to skyrocketing prices and widespread hunger. They called on the government to take immediate action to address these issues and improve the quality of life of citizens.
We are also going to testify how difficult the situation is for every one of us to be able to purchase a bag of rice, which was a common, food for Nigeria. But today, even Indomie that children, used to eat has now become about 14,000 and it's not affordable, to the people. And that's why, as women, we felt there are issues that are affecting us here. As women represent the huge population of poor people in the country, so we are much more affected by every other person. And that's why we are here asking that the government should end this hunger, because as long as this hunger remains, it may be very difficult for them to be able to curtail the protest. The protest will continue.
Let the money or the oil of Nigeria be used for the people of Nigeria. As women, it's the worst time, I can say, to be a mother right now. Because when you go and see the man, if you are married and the man gives money, when you see the man once, the next time the man will just, there's anger in the homes between partners because you can't even ask. And unless you go to the market yourself, you don't know what you're talking about. You go in the morning, the price has changed. Go in the afternoon, the price has changed. Go in the evening, the price has changed. Where are we going? It's not sustainable, President Tinubu. We are calling you to bring down the fuel price. Listen to the demands of the young people.
School fees is cost. Everything they cost. Rice, 2005. Corn, 1,000. Everything they cost. Now, but transport, everything costs. Please. Our cry where we come here. Make Tinubu look us with a good eye. We just can't give a day, not be called, not be anything. Please, everything they cost. Now we still the campaign. Now we still the intercondition again. Please, may they help us. May they wash our tears. Now our cry be that.
Meanwhile, in Kano State, the state government has issued a stern warning that it will no longer tolerate any protests that have not been cleared by security agencies. This announcement follows incidents on August 1st and 5th, 2024, where criminals took advantage of the protests in Kaduna and Zaria to loot and vandalize properties and terrorize innocent citizens. In a statement released on Saturday, the Kano State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arunwa, emphasized that these events indicate a coordinated effort by criminals to destabilize the state. It warned that the government and security forces will not allow such anti-state activities to go unchecked, while acknowledging citizens' constitutional right to freedom of expression and assembly. Arunwa said that the procession not verified by security agencies remains prohibited due to public safety concerns. Now, earlier on, I spoke with security expert Emitokbo Olodo on the end bad governance protests that took place in the country last week, and I began by asking him if he thinks the waving of Russian flags by some protesters were orchestrated.
It was good to listen to the Chief of Army Staff, clearly, categorically stating that the military and the armed forces are not interested in getting involved in anything of that nature, and that it's treasonable. I would rather advise that some of those people involved might be ill-informed, considering our link to Niger and the fact that people might have some of those, we don't even know who are Nigerians anymore, because some of these individuals are carrying Nigerians' ID card anyway. So what should be happening now, if I was to advise, the Nigerian security services and the Nigerian government, is that we need to start looking at our relationship with our neighboring countries, especially because of this kind of situation, and to be able to clearly identify who are our citizens. I think it is time to leave politics aside, because I've said somewhere in another forum that there seems to be a low take-up of, the NIN, BVN in the northern part of Nigeria. And we need to do that. We need to remove the politics of numbers. We need to really know who is our citizen and scrutinize whoever we're giving those ID cards to. And I will personally appeal to the Nigerian government. I don't know these people, they are not my family, but I would say that we need to go into more of orientation of those citizens rather than going down the treasonable charges, because some of them have done it, out of ignorance.
All right, now, lastly, before I let you go, now, the Russian government through its embassy in Nigeria has denied any involvement. Are you convinced of this?
There's no doubt, and I don't think I want to come on air to start doubting a diplomat who is working on behalf of their nation. Remember, Nigeria doesn't have any beef with Russia, but we know what is happening online. We know the Russian trolls. We know a lot of propaganda is being put out there by individuals, non-state actors and non-state actors who are promoting the Russia agenda and creating challenges, especially with the Ukraine and Russia war that is ongoing, conflict that is ongoing. A lot of people in Nigeria have sympathy with Russia, whether we like it or not. But what we need to understand is that Nigeria is a melting pot of different people. There are a lot of Russians that live in Nigeria, and a lot of Nigerians that I know who are even senior brothers to us that actually studied in Russia. So we've always had a good relationship. I will not doubt the ambassador or the consulate if it comes out to say that they were not involved. But there are some elements within Nigeria that are trying to bring in that narrative of Russia, and we need to come down on it hard. The military need to because if the military recognizes that there is a militarization of the protest, then what it means is that the military will want to get involved in this protest to try and quell it as quickly as possible to stop any exoneration.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has affirmed that the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, will persist in its effort to persuade Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso to rejoin the regional bloc. This country severed ties with ECOWAS after sanctions were imposed on them following coup within their borders. He made this known after a meeting with ECOWAS security chiefs at the presidential villa in Abuja. Now, speaking after the meeting, General Christopher Musa, chairman of the ECOWAS Chief of Defense Staff, underscored the need for a collective approach to tackle insurgency and unconstitutional change in government across the region.
No one country or one nation that can tackle it alone. So we need to work together as a team, and that's the importance. That's why we're here. After the meeting, we came to see Mr. President, who is also the chairman of ECOWAS, to inform him what's on our deliberations and to get his blessing. To also appreciate him for making it possible for us to be here to sit and deliberate. And so you can see we're all from West Africa, and our deliberations have been fruitful. The issue of insecurity that has to do with a lot of militancy, a lot of issues of terrorism here and there, and then unconstitutional takeover of government, which we have clearly said it is wrong, it is not supposed to be. So we're extending olive branch to those countries, Mali, Chad, Burkina Faso and Niger. I want them to understand that we are not enemies. We are all brothers and sisters. All that is required is the action they've taken, which is unconstitutional. They should look at that and consider and return back to democracy. That is the only issue on ground. We members of the armed forces, both in Nigeria and sister African countries, are here to defend democracy, to ensure that democracy thrives well in Africa, and we will continue to do that. So we call on them. We know that they cannot do it alone, and because insurgency does not respect any border, so that's why it's important for us to work as a team, and that's the only way we feel that we'll be able to address these issues.
And former Commonwealth Secretary General Emeka Anyoko has called on President Bola Tinubu to convene a constituent assembly to draft a new people-centered constitution for Nigeria. Anyoko made this appeal on Friday after leading the Patriot, a group of elder statesmen, to a meeting with the president at the State House in Abuja. Anyoko pointed out countries like India and Canada, which have successfully maintained unity by adopting true federal constitutions. Now, in response, President Bola Tinubu said the appeal have been heard, but he would focus on constitutional reforms after he asserted the economic reforms in the country to make living better for Nigerians.
We have come to appeal to you to send to the National Assembly the President's executive bill, which would call for two important measures. First, the convening of a National Constituent Assembly with the mandate to produce a draft People's Democratic Constitution. And the second measure that we propose for your President's executive bill is for the establishment of a national referendum to which the draft constitution emerging from the Constituent Assembly would be subjected.
I've listened to the past cries of constitutional reform. Yes, I've heard your examples and a thoughtful presentation on this subject. Avoidance of chaos is necessary to build this country and move its aspiration across the line for the benefit of all of us. I'm still preoccupied with thinking and tinkering with the economic reform. That's my first priority. Once I get that reform in place as soon as possible, then I look at other options.
President Bola Tinubu recently met with the outgoing head of civil service of the Federation, Folashade Yemieson, along with his successor DD Esther Wolsinjak at the State House in Abuja. Now, speaking with newsmen after the meeting, Yemieson expressed confidence in Wolsinjak's abilities, saying that she has full faith in her successor's capabilities and is certain that she will perform excellently in her new role. Now, she assumes the role of the new head of service of the Federation. Wolsinjak expressed the commitment to building on the foundation laid by her predecessor and continue the journey of transformation within the civil service.
Mr. President has made the handing over from one outgoing head of service to another very, very seamless, and this is very, very well appreciated. The incoming head of service has had some weeks, with me in the office, learning the ropes, and I'm sure that now she's ready to go. And, we thank Mr. President for this. And also, we had a good time chatting with Mr. President, sharing his vision for the country and especially for the civil service with the incoming head of service. And that should prepare her, that should make her hit the ground running so that she can achieve all that Mr. President had discussed with us.
I can't even describe how I feel, but one thing I know for sure, I'm very, very grateful to Mr. President for the confidence and trust that he has reposed in me in appointing me as the head of the civil service of the Federation. I see it as a divine assignment. And I have had the opportunity to assure Mr. President that by the grace of God, I will not disappoint him. What I would say is that I come as a servant of all to work together with not only the permanent secretaries, but also the directors and the entire civil service to enable us deliver on the renewed hope agenda.
Former House of Representatives member Joan Onyemechi has been freed from the kidnappers, according to the Delta State Police Command. The release was confirmed on Saturday with police spokesman Bright Edafe saying that Onyemechi was released on Friday night. Details regarding whether ransom was paid to secure release has not been disclosed, with Edafe saying that further information will be provided later. Onyemechi, who previously served as a member of the Delta State House of Assembly and as a commissioner for technical education, was abducted on July 30th from a church premises on DSB Road in Asaba, Delta State. The attack also resulted in the death of a police aide and another individual. We'll take a break here, but still to come, Sport Minister decries poor performance of Team Nigeria in 2024 Paris Olympics. Details of this story after this break.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Welcome back. Now a quick recap of our top stories. President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed ECOWAS's commitment to encouraging Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso to rejoin the regional bloc after these countries severed ties due to sanctions imposed following recent coups. Speaking after a meeting with ECOWAS security chiefs at the presidential villa in Abuja, President Tinubu emphasized ongoing diplomatic efforts to restore relations. We also informed you that the Kano State government has announced it will no longer permit any protest that has not been approved by security agencies. This warning follows recent incident on August 1st and 5th, 2024, where criminals exploited protests in Kaduna and Zaria to loot, vandalize properties, and terrorize residents. In a statement on Saturday, Samuel Anwar, the Kano State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, described this incident as part of coordinated effort to destabilize the state. Now, in case you missed any of our news bulletin or for more updates, you can catch us on Limeless World TV and AVO TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery, and Apple Store. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. And And on business, the federal government has directed the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and NPCL to sell crude oil to Dangote refinery in Naira, a move that has sparked significant reactions from various sectors. Namuda Yusuf, CEO of the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise (CPPE), has weighed in on the development. He praised the decision as a major advantage for the microeconomy. He highlighted that these shifts could provide substantial benefit and the numerous challenges facing Nigeria energy sector. In a statement, Yusuf emphasized that the decision to conduct transactions in Naira rather than their foreign currency could also help stabilize the country's economy by reducing dependence on volatile international oil markets and mitigating foreign exchange risk.
With what is happening with the currency, you can imagine the impact, on domestic prices, on our foreign exchange, and even on this recurring issue of subsidy. So, and the best way to ensure that we get out of this quagmire is to localize the refining of petroleum products, which is what we are beginning to see with respect to the Dangote refinery and other domestic refineries. But in order to ensure that their own costs also comes down in a way that this benefit can cascade down to the citizens, we have to offer the crude sales at as much concessionary terms as is possible and as is sustainable. So that is why I think this initiative has been put in place, which I think is a good one, So I think the whole essence is to ensure that we're able to bring down the cost of petroleum products down. Two major challenges we have been facing in this economy in the last 1 to 2 years. One is the exchange rate depreciation, which is arising from the huge pressure on our foreign exchange market. And the importation of petroleum products is one of the biggest pressures on the foreign exchange market and affecting our exchange rate. And the exchange rate situation has a pass-through effect on practically everything. I mean, we have just gone through the crisis of protests and all of that. All of this is about cost of living. And at the heart of all of this, apart from the security problem, is the exchange rate. So if we take that transaction in dollars away, that is putting pressure on the exchange rate, if you have an improvement in the exchange rate, it will affect prices naturally. So that is one advantage I think we need to stress. So even as we speak, I mean, we see how subsidy. But from what I hear from the operators, the landing cost now is about 1,200 per liter. And we are selling at between 650, 610 to 700. You can see the subsidy. All around us in our neighboring countries, these products are being sold at about 1,200, 1,300. So you can imagine the scale of the smuggling that's going on, which is very difficult to police. So it's a very, very difficult situation, even for government.
And on the foreign scene, a tragic airplane crash in Brazil's Sao Paulo state on Friday claimed the lives of all 61 people on board, including 57 passengers and 4 crew members, according to Vopass Airline. The aircraft, operated by Vopass, was en route from Cascavel in southern Paraná state to Sao Paulo's Groucho International Airport when it crashed in the city of Venendo. Initially, the airline reported 58 passengers, but later revised the number to 57. In response to the tragedy, President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva declared 3 days of national mourning. Vopass has pledged full cooperation with authorities to determine the cause of the accident and is providing assistance to the families of the victims on the flight, while Brazil's Aviation Accident Agency has launched an investigation into the crash. And on sports, the Minister of Sports Development, Senator John Eno, has expressed disappointment with the team Nigeria's performance at the ongoing 2024 Olympics in Paris, describing it as disappointing. In a statement in X on Saturday, the minister acknowledged that the team's failure to secure any medal is a symptom of broader issues that require urgent attention. Enoch emphasized that he would work to ensure such a disappointing outcome does not happen again. He also indicated that the upcoming Sport Federation elections would be a critical opportunity to elect the most suitable candidates to lead the country's various sports federations. The minister clarified that contrary to speculation that the ministry had made adequate financial and logistical provisions to prepare the athletes for the Olympics. And that wraps up our bulletin on News Now. Many thanks for watching. I'm Tamlore Akekwoli. See you again next time.